While some of the most famous science fiction films are packed with action, adventure, and fun monsters, this genre is a perfect place to go beneath the surface to tackle philosophical questions. Welcome to the Multicultural Sci-fi Organization, MCSFO. Today we'll look at our picks for the top 10 intellectual sci-fi films. For this list, we'll be counting down through some of the most mind-bending, thought-provoking, and stimulating films across the genre, in order of their release dates from oldest to newest. Number 10, the Blade Runner franchise. As we look at the most intellectual sci-fi films, we can't forget Blade Runner, which laid the groundwork for many of the films on our list, followed by Blade Runner 2049 30 years later. Ridley Scott put an indelible mark on the franchise with the 1982 original Blade Runner, starring Harrison Ford as Deckard, a Blade Runner who must terminate 4 bioengineered humanoids known as replicants, who stole a spaceship and have returned to Earth.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain.
Blade Runner examines what it means to be human, the power and pitfalls of artificial intelligence, and the globalization's effect on industrial pollution. Like many sci-fi films, Blade Runner is based on a sci-fi book. The source material, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, was written by one of the most acclaimed science fiction authors, Philip K. Dick. Unfortunately, he passed a few months shy of the film's release. But after watching an early screening of the film, Philip K. Dick was astounded at how it mirrored the universe he imagined while writing it. Ridley Scott passed the directing torch to Oscar-nominated filmmaker Denis Villeneuve for the sequel, Blade Runner 2049. But like an overprotective parent, Scott supervised him closely as executive producer until Villeneuve respectfully asked for more freedom. Starring Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford, Blade Runner 2049 continues to explore what it means to be human, but focuses on a young Blade Runner named Kay, as he discovers a secret that leads him to former Blade Runner Rick Deckard, who has been missing for 3 decades. True to its origins, the opening scene is nearly an exact copy of a scene that was written and storyboarded, but never filmed for the 1982 original. And while we love that they kept the Asian cultural influences of the original film, we can't ignore that they could have made a greater effort to match said diversity in casting. Number 9, GATTACA. There's no doubt that GATTACA belongs among the most thought-provoking and relevant sci-fi films, as it forces us to take a closer look at how technological innovations in the field of genetic engineering, left unchecked, may lead to an even more unequal and stratified society. Written and directed by Andrew Niccol and starring Ethan Hawke, Jude Law, and Uma Thurman, the film follows Vincent Freeman, who is considered a second-class citizen due to a heart condition. Born in a society where most people are genetically engineered, Vincent was conceived naturally and figures out a way to escape genetic discrimination and realize his dream of space travel. Niccol is well known for the cold, pure tones in his projects. A firm believer that story dictates style, he wanted the world of GATTACA in particular to feel sterile because the characters are afraid to leave traces of themselves. In 2011, GATTACA topped the list made by NASA scientists of the most accurate sci-fi films, so it's truly a cautionary tale of a plausible situation. And another cool geeky fun fact, GATTACA was named after the letters that represent the 4 bases of DNA, GATC. Number 8, the Matrix Trilogy. This franchise really doesn't need an introduction. Written and directed by the Wachowskis, the Matrix Trilogy is one of the most iconic social, political, and religious philosophical science fiction franchises of all time. Rumored to be based on a story called The Third Eye written by Sophia Stewart, The Matrix stars Lawrence Fishburne as Morpheus, Carrie-Anne Moss as Trinity, and Keanu Reeves as Neo. The first film follows Neo, a computer hacker who meets mysterious rebels who show him the truth about the simulated reality he's living in and his role in the war against the intelligent machines who are controlling it. Originally, Will Smith was approached to play Neo, but he turned down the role due to a conflict. Smith maintains that he has no regrets, divulging that he doesn't believe he would have been mature enough as an actor at the time The Matrix was filmed. But the Smith family still got its name in the franchise later, with his wife Jada Pinkett Smith landing a supporting role in both the Reloaded and Revolutions sequels. The sequel, The Matrix Reloaded, follows Neo, Trinity, and Morpheus as they team up against the machines once again, racing to figure out how the Matrix is constructed before the machines discover their home, the city of Zion. In the third film, The Matrix Revolutions, the humans fight to defend Zion from the machines, long enough for Neo to escape from limbo and fulfill his crucial role in defeating the machines. The Matrix franchise blew our minds with their high-concept intellectual narratives.
Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth.
What truth?
There is no spoon.
It was also the first sci-fi film with such a large, diverse cast. Seeing African Americans in a position of power and influence were rarely seen, if at all, in previous sci-fi films. And although they may have gotten a little bit tangled in their own web of cerebral strands, The Matrix is still arguably one of the smartest science fiction films ever made. And in case you've been off-world, the Wachowskis are back with a fourth Matrix film slated to be released in 2022. Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, and Jada Pinkett Smith are all expected to reprise their roles. And joining the cast is Watchmen star Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, playing a lead role rumored to be a young Morpheus. Number 7. Inception. Auteur filmmaker Christopher Nolan is famous for his psychological puzzling films, no matter the genre, but there is perhaps no film more mind-bending than his sci-fi brainchild Inception. Starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ellen Page, Tom Hardy, and Ken Watanabe, Inception follows a thief named Cobb who uses dream-sharing technology to steal information from his target's subconscious minds. When Cobb is given the complex task of planting an idea into the mind of a CEO, he must assemble a team and embark into uncharted territory. This film takes you on a cerebral journey through layers of mind control as Cobb and his team implant ideas into people's heads. And with the Schrodinger's cat-like ending, it's no wonder this film is still being debated today and will continue to be for years to come. Nolan and producer Emma Thomas really knew what they wanted with this film. Leonardo DiCaprio was their only choice to play the character Cobb. Number 6. Cloud Atlas. The Wachowskis, who brought you the beloved Matrix trilogy, continue to create analytical work and make us take a closer look at human nature and the impact our lives have on others with Cloud Atlas. Starring pretty much most of Hollywood, Cloud Atlas is based on a novel of the same name by David Mitchell. This epic explores the interconnected lives of several souls as they are reincarnated across 5 centuries. Each action ripples through time, impacting many lives, and one act of kindness inspires a revolution centuries later. Tom Hanks was reluctant to join this project at first, but the Wachowskis and co-director Tom Tykwer convinced him to take on a leading role after a lengthy discussion on Moby Dick, which Hanks was reading at the time. The audacious transformations in Cloud Atlas caused a bit of controversy, but was intended to reinforce themes of reincarnation and the human connection across all boundaries. Number 5. Snowpiercer. Director Bong Joon-ho was asking tough questions about class long before his most recent Oscar-winning film Parasite gained critical acclaim. And what better place to ask questions about our place in the world than in a dystopian science fiction film? Starring Chris Evans, Tilda Swinton, Ed Harris, and Octavia Spencer, Snowpiercer explores a world where the sole survivors of a failed climate change experiment have boarded a luxury train that travels around the globe where a new class system forms, with the poorest residents at the caboose and the richest at the front. This gem is based on a 1982 French graphic novel, Le Transpersonnage, and it's no surprise that such a relevant and thought-provoking story would be adapted once again into a TV series. And you can catch the Snowpiercer TV reboot on TNT. Number 4. Ex Machina. Like Blade Runner, our next film, the very plausible psychological thriller Ex Machina, directed by Alex Garland, also questions what it means to be human and the role of artificial intelligence, but with its own existential twist.
Do you know what the Turing test is?
Are you building an AI?
I've already built one. And over the next few days, you're going to be the human component in the Turing test.
In this cerebral sci-fi film, starring Donald Gleason, Alicia Vikander, Oscar Isaac, and Sonoya Mizuno, a young programmer assesses the human qualities of a highly sophisticated humanoid AI named Ava for an experiment. Felicity Jones was originally considered for the role of Ava before it ultimately went to Alicia Vikander. With this directorial debut, Alex Garland quickly made a name for himself with this high IQ sci-fi film by challenging us to look deeply at the nature of consciousness, what it means to be human and to have humanity. Number 3. Arrival. Before director Denis Villeneuve brought us Blade Runner 2049, he made us contemplate the depths of language and communication and how they transcend barriers in the philosophical, introspective sci-fi film Arrival. Based on a Nebula Award-winning short story by Ted Chiang called Story of Your Life, was adapted for the screen by Eric Heiserer. Starring Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, and Forrest Whitaker, Arrival follows a linguist played by Adams as she leads a team of investigators attempting to communicate with alien life forms after 12 mysterious spacecraft appear around Earth. The role of language was so important in this film that Villeneuve and Heiserer actually created an entire language just for the project. The lessons of humanity, culture, language, and communication in this film are so vital right now and will continue to resonate for years to come. Number 2. Annihilation. Fans of Ex Machina will know director Alex Garland's next project, Annihilation, yet another stimulating film for deep-thinking sci-fi lovers based on the 2014 novel of the same name by Jeff Vandermeer. This all-female-led cast features Natalie Portman as a biologist, Jennifer Jason Leigh as a psychologist, Tessa Thompson as a physicist, Tuva Novotny as a geomorphologist, and Gina Rodriguez as a paramedic. They embark on a secret expedition into the Shimmer, a sinister and mysterious zone that defies the laws of nature. Although female representation in Hollywood is still a challenge, there's been a surge in female-led characters in the science fiction genre. And while a lot of directors lack faith in leading women, Alex Garland has undoubtedly paved the way for more diverse women-centric projects like this one. And if Annihilation and Ex Machina have you craving more of Alex Garland's work, do not despair. Check out his extreme mind-bending TV miniseries Devs on Hulu. Before we share our top pick, take a look at some honorable mentions. Number 1. The Platform. Director Galder Gaztelu Urrutia's sci-fi horror hybrid, The Platform follows in Snowpiercer's footsteps with an incisive commentary on class as literal levels correspond to socioeconomic status. Based on a theater script by David De Sola and Pedro Rivero, this film explores a deep, mysterious prison made up of many levels with a descending platform containing food for the prisoners. The platform is a modern-day parable, not so subtly pointing to the wealth inequality in our own society. As the platform begins to descend, the food is plentiful, but as the prisoners at the top take more than their fair share, a paucity of food is left for the prisoners at the bottom. Here, the decisions of the few at the highest levels affect the resources and survival of those below them. Sound familiar? What do you think of our list? Do you agree? What makes your list of intellectual sci-fi films? For more videos on some of the greatest top 10 lists in the world of science fiction, be sure to subscribe to MCSFO and turn on all notification alerts.